Hey guys, so today I'm here to do something that I'm sort of dreading but I really need to do, and that is a book unhaul. So this is volume 2 because I did one at least 2 years ago where I unhauled some books that I didn't want anymore, but this has been a long time coming because I have a very hard time letting go of books and just coming to the decision that I'm not actually going to read them, or I did read them and I just didn't like them. But this is something I need to do, and I have seen a lot of videos going around lately of people unhauling like half their books, and I'm not gonna go that far. Like, I don't understand how you can spend so much money on all these books and then unhaul like 100, and you're like, what the hell? Like, how do you just buy it so soon and then decide you don't want to read it? Like, that's something that I think is a bit far. Like, all of these books have been on my bookshelves for at least 2 to 3 to 4 years not being read. I have just grown out of wanting to read them, but this is just something that I need to film. And my TBR, if all these books were on it, would be 321 books, and that is just too crazy. I have a problem. I just buy too many books and I keep buying them, but I also have a problem with buying them when they're really, really cheap, and I may not necessarily actually want to read the book. It's just because it's really cheap. So I've grown out of that habit and I only buy books now that I know I really, really, really want to read. It just depends on how quickly I can get to it. But I have 37 books here that I want to unhaul, and to me that's a really big number, but considering I've seen some book unhauls where people get rid of a lot more books, this isn't that bad. So this is bringing my TBR down to 292 because I did take some of these off my TBR list before. So more or less it was more like I had 330 books on this TBR. So I feel a lot better that it's under the 300 mark, and that just makes it easier for me. And I'm also going to do a whole video of like a TBR shame so you can see all the books that are on my TBR, and these are all books that I do want to read. Like, yes, some of them I'm still a bit iffy on, but I'm keeping them because I do want to try the stories out. It's just probably won't happen for a little while, but they're just there so that I can read them. But these are all the books that I just either don't want to read or I didn't like. Also, a quick disclaimer, guys. I don't really put disclaimers in my videos much because I don't do a lot of controversial videos, but if any of these books are your favorites, I want to say that I'm not attacking you as a person. These can be your favorites. It does not mean anything if I don't like them. It doesn't mean that the book isn't good. It's just I don't want to read them, or it's just didn't clash well with me. But I'm not saying that I hate you as a person or as a reader. Just know my opinion, and I'm entitled to have it, and you're entitled to have your own opinion, and you know, we'll just have a lot of fun. We don't need to get angry at each other, and we can just keep going. So the first lot of books that I'm going to unhaul might be a bit of a shock to you, but it is all of my True Blood books that I never ended up reading. I think the main problem is that I never bought book 1 because I bought all of them on bargain price over like a year span, and I was excited to read the True Blood books because I was in that vampire stage. I just wanted to read books about vampires, but I've literally lost all interest in reading these. And yes, they would be very pretty if I owned all the books and had a complete rainbow, but I just don't see myself committing to this like 40 book series, which it does feel like. There is 9 books that I have here now, and there's 4 that I don't own, but I just can't do it. Like, I just honestly don't think I'm gonna read them, and like, yes, I did spend a little bit of money on these, but I just can't even try and think of reading these, so I'm getting rid of them. It's just taking up space on my shelves, and I need space for new books, or at least the books that I currently have, because that's what's happened as well, is I've run out of space. So these books are going. The next 2 books are The Bone Season and The Mime Honor, and before you yell at me, I'm actually getting other editions, so it's not actually a bad thing. I've been waiting so long to be able to buy them all in the new covers so they all match, and they finally brought out paperbacks for all of them that are all going to be the same size, so I'm getting the new edition so I can read them because I don't want to have these old editions that just don't match. And these were really cheap. Like, I got them on bargain price, and I think when I was buying them, the companies knew that these were going to be going out of print. So these are books that I don't need anymore if I have duplicate copies. The next 2 books are Endgame and Sky Key by James Frey, and like, this was a book that a friend got me for my birthday, and he bought it without really knowing any of my reading tastes, so I was thankful for it, but I don't really want to read it. Like, I thought it could have been like a cool kind of Illuminate kind of feel to it, but really, like, it's got photos and stuff, but reading the premise on the back, I still don't understand what's going on. And I thought that buying the sequel for bargain price might push me to try and read these, but really, I'm not gonna read them. Like, it's just not gonna happen, and I have to accept that. Like, I do feel a little sad for some of these that I've had for so long, but I just have no interest in it, and there's so many other books to read that if there ever came a chance and I wanted to read these, I would just say no. you got rid of those books. It's your own fault you can't read it. The next books I'm unhauling are Finnegan of the Rock and Froe of the Exiles by Melinda Marchetta. They're actually kind of a popular series, but I just have no interest in it anymore. I actually got the sequel first because it was one of those blind date a book things, and I don't know why a sequel was in this because it sounded good. I think it was like about Fae and royalty and wars, and I was like, okay, a second book. So I got this one, and I don't even have like the matching editions. Like the actual Froe of the Exile edition is meant to look like that, if you can see it on the back. One, these don't even match up, and two, I've just lost interest. And I have seen people recently read these, so I feel a little bad about getting rid of them, but again, I just feel like I'm never gonna read it, and have had these since I was in year 12, and it's been 3 years since I was at school now, so I don't think it's gonna happen. The next two books are Golden and Platinum by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, and I actually read Golden and I enjoyed it enough, but it's just so like every single type of book that has ghosts in it and magic and all that kind of stuff, so I have no interest in reading the sequel, and I kind of don't see the point in keeping the first one if I don't want to read the sequel. So this is, again, it's a little bit sad because I did read it and I didn't hate it, but it wasn't like outstanding, so both of these are going. The other book that I'm unhauling that I've read is The Game by Crystalline Kuhn. I don't see a point in keeping this because this was actually translated from German and the other books haven't been translated, so I don't see a point in keeping the book. It wasn't even like the best book ever either, like it was just about a school and some kids and a murder and all that kind of stuff. Like I had it for ages and I bought it off Book Depository because it was on a really good bargain, and I finally did read it after quite a few years, and I found out the rest of the series wasn't even in print, so I don't see a point in having it. There's no way to physically read the rest of the series. The next books I'm unhauling is Asylum and Sanctum by Madeleine Brooks, and I'm pretty sure I got Sanctum first, then I got Asylum, but these are books that I thought would be really interesting, and after reading Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, I thought it would be kind of the same thing, but I think these are actually going to be really hecka scary, and I've just never felt the need to pick them up. Like, yes, when I first bought them, I was like, that sounds cool, but after that, I just have not felt the need to actually read them, and I'm just too scared, so I just don't want to keep them if I'm never going to read them. Okay, the next book I'm unhauling is Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass by Lewis Carroll, and before you say anything, the only reason I'm unhauling this is I just don't like this edition. Like, it was only $2 and I thought might as well buy it, but if I'm ever going to read Alice in Wonderland, I want to get a nice edition, and I have so many classics that are just all these ugly ass editions, but classics really aren't my things. I don't see the point of this taking up space on my bookshelves, but I'm actually going to bring this book to me to Fiji to donate to the library at the hotel I'm staying at so someone can enjoy this book, so that is something at least that comes out of it. The next book I'm unhauling is The Night of the Soul Ties and Heart of Valor by LJ Smith. I do like LJ Smith, but her stories aren't actually like the best all the time. Like Vampire Diaries is something I was considering unhauling, but I actually got the first couple of books as gifts, so I kind of want to still give the series a go. So this is just a collection of books I don't see reading. Like I had Heart of Valor for the longest time, and this is actually book 2, and then I finally booked the sequel, and I just don't feel like reading it. Like, yes, it probably is going to be a great story about witches and all that, but after reading The Vampire Diaries, I just feel like I can't even do it. Like, I just feel like it might be really boring, so sorry if it's someone's favourite book. Next I'm unhauling is Delirium by Lauren Oliver, and this is just because I bought the first book in a better edition, so I don't see the point in having 2 editions, so it's not really that hard to give up. The next book I am unhauling is Kisses from Hell, and this is like a collection of stories by Kristen Cast, Alison Knoll, Kelly Armstrong, Rochelle Mead, and Frances Leah Block. And this is just some short stories, and a lot of them are like short stories from the series these authors have actually written. Like, the only one I'm a little bit sad about is Rochelle Mead's story about how Lys's parents actually met and got together, but I looked at some reviews and they said it was actually really crap, so I'm kind of happy to get rid of it. Next I'm unhauling this ghost story of Springtime by Michelle DeCrester. I just don't see the point of having this. I don't even know why I have it in the first place, so I'm getting rid of it. Next book I'm getting rid of is Wicked Games by Sean Olin. This is a book I should have gotten rid of in my last book haul, but I kept it because I was like, maybe you might like it, but like, I just know. I don't think I'm gonna read it. I don't really care. There's so many other things I could read. Like, there's just people kissing on the front cover, and I'm just like, nah. The next book is Possessing Rain by Kate Khan, and again, this is a book that I was gonna unhaul in my last haul, but I kept it, didn't read it, so I don't see the point in having it. Like, I think if you have a book that you're sort of questioning and you don't end up unhauling it in your next to unhaul, if you haven't read that book yet, just get rid of it. But you're just clearly not gonna read it, so this is just another one that I'm like, nah, I don't feel like it. Yeah, the next 2 books are The Devil Wears Prada and Revenge of the Prada. I just don't care anymore. Like, I bought these again because they were really cheap, but like, I've already seen the movie. Like, I don't really care anymore. Like, I feel like I'm just gonna get really bored, and I haven't heard like that many great reviews about the sequel, and I was just like, maybe I'll complete the first one, but I just don't think I'm ever gonna read these, so why keep them? The next book I have is Spells by Abbeyleec, and this is like a book 2 of a series that I don't think I'm gonna read. Like, yes, it's about fae and they're losing their wings and it's all fairy related, but I just don't see the point in buying the first book when I don't really think I'm gonna like it. So this is just one of those situations where I actually thought this was the first book, but it wasn't, so oh well. Okay, the next 2 books are Perception and Clarity, and I don't even know which order these go in, but I thought this was gonna be cool. I think it's about a girl who can like move things and she's all sneaky and cool and all that kind of stuff, and these were like $5 each, and I was like, yeah, maybe just give it a go. It's been ages, and this was sort of the one that I was kind of like, oh, do you really want to get rid of it? But I'm just like, you know what, just think of the space you can save and have your books so they're not so squished. So that thought kept me through with the idea of getting rid of these. Next book I'm going to be unhauling is Cherry Bomb by Jenny Valentish. This is a book my parents actually got me at their workplace because every year their lost and found stuff gets cleaned out and they get to take stuff home if they want to, because obviously people haven't come back for it. So they only managed to swipe this book for me, and I was like, thanks guys. And then over time I've realized it's just not something I really want to read, so I'm not really losing much because I didn't actually pay for it. So it is going to go to someone else who hopefully will want it more than I do. Next book I'm going to be unhauling is Kiss Me Deadly, and this is like an anthology of a heap of like popular YA paranormal authors back in the day, and it doesn't really have like any ratings on Goodreads, and I just don't really care. I just feel like I'm going to get so bored and I'm just like, nah, I'm so done, don't want to read it. And finally I'm going to be unhurling Earthbound and Earthquake, or whatever books these are. These are by Abbeyleec. Seem to be unhauling a lot of Abbeyleec this time. I thought these were going to be interesting at first. Like, this is about a girl who survives a plane crash and she's the only survivor, and then she finds out she's a fairy or something. I don't even know, is she a fairy or is she a goddess or is something else happening? Like, I don't know what's happening really with these books, and even though they do have quite pretty covers, I just don't see myself reading them because there's so many other things, as I've said countless times, and you're going to see that when I do a TBR Shame video, that there's so many other books to read. So that is my book unhaul, and it's just so uplifting actually to know that I'm going to get rid of these books. So it is sad that I did spend the money on these and I did hope to read them, and I'm just going to give these books away to charity so that someone else can hopefully enjoy them and be able to read them and all that. But it just feels so much better knowing that I don't have 300 and something or other books on my TBR anymore. And not that I was going to get rid of like 150 books, because I am not half in my TBR. There is a lot of books still there that I want to read. Like, yes, I have read all of these, but you know, all of these plus up there is all books that I haven't read, and there's so many great titles that I have not read yet. It was only in the last 2.5 years that I really seriously went at it at reading, and I've managed to read so many more books. There are still so many more stories that I do want to experience. I hope to do that in the future. So hopefully another unhaul isn't going to be happening, because I'm not going to try and buy like crap books anymore, in a sense. Like, just if it's on discount, do buy the book, but like, just don't go out there and try and buy books that you know you're never going to read. So anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed this book unhaul. I hope it doesn't go too long, because this feels like it was filming for quite a while. But anyway guys, thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys later. Bye!